God is not going to fix things that I don't have the discipline to change.
Just by taking my focus off of myself and helping someone else, just like gives me a new sense of passion and hope. What you look like or your body or what you're wearing, like that's like the least important thing that there could be about you. Like,
not only like learning to love yourself, but learning to like love yourself for being made in the image of God and for who God says you are. Making eye contact with a guy doesn't mean he likes you. Welcome back to the Sister Sip. Today's episode is going to be really fun. I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
We had a bunch of you write in and tell us like maybe the advice that you would give your younger self, the things that maybe you wish you could go back and tell your past self. And we're going to share a little bit about a couple of ours. And I think it's just going to be a really good episode, just sharing our wisdom. We probably have some from older women, younger ones, and I just think it's good to share what we've learned in our life experience. So I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, thank you all who put in your different submissions. This was really fun to get a good handful of answers back for this episode. Also, if you don't already and you'd like to, follow us on Instagram at, I'm trying to remember what our handle is.
It's at Sister Sip Podcast.
At Sister Sip Podcast, because sometimes we'll ask you guys questions for our videos or want ideas or your input, and we love hearing back from you guys and getting your feedback on all of that.
Definitely. Okay, I'm excited to get into what we're sipping today. Jayla made it, so tell me a little bit about it.
So it is a London Fog. I have never made one before, so I love Earl Grey tea. So it's basically just like a more highly concentrated tea with steamed milk on top, and then I sweetened it with some honey and vanilla and put a sprinkle of cinnamon on top.
London Fogs are some of my favorite drinks.
Hopefully this lives up to your expectations.
I know. Is it really hot? It's really like pretty. I love the steamed milk, the like frothed.
It's very good. I don't know
think
what a lot
is.
of London Fogs are supposed to taste like. It's like the perfect amount of sweetness.
I think
was
that's
just
really
guessing.
good. That actually was. Another reason to follow our Instagram, if you haven't already and you're new here, is that we post all of our drink recipes every monthly episode.
Yeah.
So you should definitely check those out.
Okay, let's get into what's brewing.
Yeah. I feel like the past month literally flew by.
Yes.
Because we record these pretty much monthly. Sometimes we'll do like an extra one. And last month I was like, wow, the month felt like forever since we had recorded. I literally feel like we recorded like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
And it's crazy.
Which we probably did, honestly, because we filmed it pretty last minute. We're a little bit more ahead of time this time.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's true. But this past month, we haven't even talked since like Christmas. I don't have a ton because it was mostly just holiday stuff.
Yeah.
We went out to Kansas where Keegan's family lives for Christmas, and that was so fun, so like relaxing and refreshing. I feel like they live in like a small town, so it's definitely like always kind of like more like slow living there, and I always feel very like relaxed, and it's like a time to slow down and kind of rejuvenate. But it was also really fun being with his family. I feel like being newly married, every time I go out there I like get to know his family more and get closer, and this trip was just really, really fun and really, really good. And my other life update, I guess, last Sunday I hosted like a little girls Christmas party with our friend group.
That was super
from
fun.
church. It was really fun. And we did like a fun little thrifted gift exchange, and it was really fun to all get things that were kind of like hand-picked. Most of them were thrifted, so it's a really fun gift idea.
Yes, it is.
To find things that were kind of like well-loved, more like vintage curated items. So that was really fun.
I know, obviously we had Christmases too. Actually, Christmas Day, Oliver and I we opened our presents for each other that day, had our Christmas dinner that night, but we spent a lot of the day just working around the house. It was so nice not to have actual plans Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Just because we'd already had our Christmases with both of our families, and the weather was so nice. It was such nice weather. It was like perfect for getting stuff done around the house. It was just nice, honestly, not to have a lot of plans. It was a very relaxing Christmas.
Just to have like the Monday off and not go to work. Yeah.
And we also, Oliver finished up our master bedroom. So we kind of got all moved in there on Christmas Day. That was super fun to set up our room.
It is so cute, you guys. It's like such an upgrade from your last bedroom.
Our last bedroom, I knew that wasn't the bedroom we were going to stay in. So I literally just didn't decorate it at all. There was it was just very meh. And so it's so fun to have our own bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our own bedroom before, but have a bedroom that I know we'll stay in for a long time and to decorate it cute and stuff. And finally clear out our other rooms that were just looking so junky and piling up with stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like our house is so much bigger now. We also redid a lot of our kitchen. So on New Year's Day, we went and got countertop, put in new countertop, and put in backsplash, tore some stuff out. I will post some before and after pictures
you
of
guys, the kitchen is so cute.
I love our kitchen.
Such an upgrade. And it wasn't even an expensive upgrade.
No, it wasn't at all. We just did that. What's it called for the backsplash? You know that wooden panel boarding, B-board, which is a really cheap way to do backsplash if you're kind of wanting to upgrade in your kitchen. And then our countertop we just got from IKEA. It's probably not the highest quality stuff, but we can't really afford nice marble countertops yet.
Hey, but just that was such an upgrade. And I don't think you have to spend a lot of money to kind of make things your own.
Yeah.
And I think that was so cute.
And I was also very impressed by my husband once again. I know I was talking about it a couple episodes back about him putting the dishwasher in. And I'm I have no idea how to put dishwasher in. Well, I had no idea how you would even begin to take off old countertop, put on new countertop, put in the backsplash. I would just be absolutely lost with that.
How do guys, I mean, I'm sure not every guy, but generally guys just know how to do random things.
Yeah, and if he didn't know something, he'd just be go look up on YouTube, watch a video on how to do a certain thing. And that's most of my life updates.
Yeah. Well, we aren't going to spend too much time on it because we honestly have we got a lot of submissions and I'm really excited to get into them. So we're kind of keeping it a little bit short here so that we can hopefully get through all of them that you guys sent us.
Okay, so today's topic, I think Kinsley already mentioned it, is just things that we would tell our younger selves. And I know you talked about this earlier to me. I always think of when you say something to your younger self, my young self, my 12-year-old self or younger, but you were saying how it can even be yourself last year or, I mean, I feel you're always growing and changing and learning new things. So that was a good point. We have a few of our own submissions. I didn't write down a lot just because you guys wrote in so many answers.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just, start off sharing mine.
You do yours first.
I don't feel I thought about it a lot just because we had so many answers to read from you guys too. And I wanted to, for us to have a chance to do that. One thing that I thought about was when I was younger, it's kind of a big part of my testimony, was struggling a lot with intrusive thoughts and OCD. That was a big thing for me. Being a slave to my thoughts. And I was well, I'll just always be that way. It's just kind of who I am. I just think that it was something I struggled with for a long time. And I think I still struggle with it some here and there, but I was just I guess I'll always struggle with this and always be a slave to my mind. And I don't know if anyone out there has ever struggled with that. I'm sure there is people who've struggled with intrusive thoughts. When I went through that, I thought I was very alone in that. There was something wrong with me. But as I've gotten older, heard other people's stories, I know that I'm not alone in that. And so God has really, really healed me from that. And I am just so thankful to be almost completely free from that. And when I was younger, I remember just thinking I was going to be a complete slave to that. And I wish that I could tell my younger self that God will free you from that someday. And
there's freedom.
Yeah, you will not be a slave to your thoughts. And that's the best way I can word it, is just being a slave to my thoughts. Yeah,
that's really good. And I think that can go into a lot of areas. I think having bad habits or struggles, you think this is just who I am. I could never get out of it. This is just how I've always been. And that's also limiting God.
Exactly.
And so I think that's a really good testimony. Pepper is
being
demolishing
so bad.
my feet. Okay, I had two, but they kind of go together a little bit. They're both what I would say to my high school self. Keegan's going to come in here. those of you watching on YouTube, here's our producer, Keegan. He's going to come in and rescue me from Pepper. She's feeling a little stir crazy. So, like I said, I would tell this to myself in school. I struggled a lot in school for different reasons. But the first thing that I would say in school and a little bit outside of school is to take time to really learn. I never really was somebody who loved learning, and I didn't really care unless it really affected me or I really needed to use it.
Same.
Yeah. And so I literally could care less about my grades. As long as I was passing and I just knew what I needed to do to pass the test, then that was all that I needed. Yeah. And so I feel now as an adult, like, I just realized how much I missed out on.
Yeah.
And I always also felt like really dumb. And it was because I wasn't actually taking the time and I didn't care to learn. And I've learned now as an adult that even though you're not going to use everything that you learn in school. Like, I'm like, why would I learn geometry? Yeah. I'm never going to use it in school. Why learn science? I'm not going to go into a field that uses science. But a lot of those are just learning critical thinking, learning how to think for yourself, to problem solve. And I think I kind of missed out on a lot of that. But to what you're saying, like, I'm also learning that even though I kind of failed in that in the past, it's not too late. Like, I don't think that I'm too far gone that I can never be intelligent or at least be able to, like, really think for myself and be well-spoken. Those are kind of like insecurities of mine now, like not being well-spoken and not being very smart. But I'm like, I don't think that I'm just doomed to a life of
dumbness.
I think, like, now I can take that and I can, like, learn, I can grow and try to push myself. One other thing in school, well, this kind of goes in with my school struggles, but also other areas of my life. Something I really struggled with is God is not going to fix things that I don't have the discipline to change. I, like, would pray that God would just, like, take away a problem that was, like, a bad habit of mine. Like, example, school, like, procrastination. I was like, God, just, like, make me smart. And, like, help me to, like, love school and, like, want to get up and do school. But then I would wake up and I wouldn't magically feel, like, ready to do it. And I would be like, oh, like, God didn't help me with that. Like, 9 times out of 10, God's not just going to take away that problem. Like, there's a few instances, like a drug addict or something, that, like, they have a really cool testimony where God just took away that. But most of the time, that's not the case. And I also think, like, that's limiting us being able to grow. Because
I like what you said about that. That is so true. I feel like I catch myself doing that in my own life right now, like praying for God to, like, help me change a certain habit. Like, a classic example, like being on my phone too much. Maybe I could pray to God about that. But, like, deep down, like, I'm not actually going to take any motivating moves to stop that. So, like, when you ask God to help you with a certain problem, like, you have to be, like, completely willing to give that up. Not just like, God, help me not to want to do this anymore. It's like, do I deeply down in my heart, like, want to change in that aspect? Because I feel like it's so lazy sometimes just to ask God to help you change something. But, like, deep down, you're like, meh, I'll just try to let him change me, but I'm not actually going to make any point myself.
Exactly. How am I ever going to learn discipline if God just instantly took away every problem that I ever had?
Exactly.
And not to go too deep into it, but I literally felt like God didn't care about me enough to answer that prayer. But like, looking back, I'm like, what was I willing to give up for him to answer that prayer? So I wish that I could have known that, and I could have had a bigger view of God in that time.
It's crazy the way that God can work in you when you, like, completely surrender a certain problem to him. Like, when you actually, like, surrender it to him, regardless of, like, the outcome, how, like, your eyes are really opened and you get this peace. Like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it does change, like, I know this is from you, God. I don't know. I've just had that happen in my life before. And it's just, I really encourage you guys, if you're struggling with something, like, I know this might be kind of going a complete different topic, but just, like, surrendering it to God, completely surrendering it to him, giving it to him. If it doesn't work out the way that you want, then it wasn't his will. But if it does work out, then, like, that's amazing. And you know that it is his will because you actually completely gave up and surrendered that thing. That's just, I think that's, I don't know. I think that's a really good way to hear from God. When you feel like you've completely surrendered something and then an outcome comes from it, you just like know it's from God.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing that helps me is knowing my life is not my own, and everything that I have has been, I'm like a steward of it. It's not mine. Like everything, all of my earthly possessions are just, they're God's, but I'm a steward, and so I have to be willing to surrender those things, and you know, it's hard not to like clinch onto them tightly, but.
All right, let's get into our submissions before my phone dies. I'm a very low percentage.
What's it at now?
5. Keegan, can you find a charger?
So I do want to say, we haven't read any of these. I was going to. I really wanted to peek and read them, but then like I was like, I want them to be more of like an honest, raw reaction. And I also didn't want them to like bias what I was going to say. Like,
exactly.
I just was like, I just want to like come at it.
Oh, wait, can I still use my phone? Okay, perfect. We got a charger for my phone.
All right. Okay.
Yay! How exciting.
Keegan saves the day. Everyone was on the edge of their seats about that
what
one.
What if my phone died? Okay.
I will go first.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of take turns reading these. You can do whatever you set your mind to. With hard work, you can accomplish big dreams. So, dream big. I think what I would think about with this one is starting a YouTube channel. Like my younger self would have been like so like proud of my older self for actually doing that. This was like a dream since I was like a young teenager, a young girl. And so the fact that I like had the courage to do it, not like trying to like brag. But
I had the immense courage to start my YouTube channel.
Even like
but it does.
Podcast.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a dream, and something I've been talking about with my friends, it's like a lot of things can be like, oh, what are people going to think if I like start a new business or start this dream? Like, is it cringy? It's like, what really do you have to lose? I guess unless you're putting a lot of money or something, like maybe you need to seek wisdom about that.
Yeah, it either works or it doesn't, but at least you tried.
Yeah. So I think it's like important to try it out. Like, take some chances in life.
Yeah. Okay, this person had a lot of different things. So one was, don't be so insecure. No one is thinking about you and your problems. They're too worried about their own. Wow, that's a good one. That is so true. Wow. Spot on.
My teenager self especially. It's like everybody's thinking this about me.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, just be yourself. If you are yourself, you will attract people who like to be around you, and you won't have to try to be someone you're not. Wow, these are really good. That is so true. I mean, why try to be someone else just to get friends? I mean, they're not even,
And you want people to want to be your friend because they're attracted to your personality.
Yeah. And you want to be friends with people that you can be like your complete self with.
Yeah.
3, if you're feeling depressed about life, try to find someone to help. It will deflect the focus off yourself and your own problems. That is so true. I feel like I'm not super good at this, but I feel like if I am kind of feeling depressed and in a rut, usually it's because I'm just not content where I'm at in life. And usually like just by taking my focus off of myself and helping someone else just like gives me a new sense of passion and hope. Any out of the box opportunity you are presented with, take it. It will grow you in so many good ways. Obviously not sinful. Yes.
That's really good though. It's I'm even thinking about that now. It's like I pray for opportunities to grow and then like sometimes something kind of like
there's one on my mind right now the Lord has presented in my life, and I hope that I have the courage or have the will, the motivation to do it. And I feel like that's spot on. Like if God gives you an opportunity, just take it. And the last one he put, don't be so petty. Everyone makes mistakes. Give them grace for it. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's good to remember.
Honestly, yes.
Maybe I wouldn't tell her something. I'd probably just change her style, but would actually say, just calm down and don't be so immature.
That's funny.
I would change my style, but at the same time, does it really matter that I dressed completely ugly?
Everyone did. Yeah, I'm going to look back at what I'm wearing right now and be like, okay. So, yeah, that's funny.
Just calm down and don't be so immature.
Question for thought. What do you think your future self would be telling your current self right now when we look back to this time of our lives, what we wish we would have done differently? I feel like it would be the things that I'm struggling with right now, kind of like we were talking about, things I'm not surrendering over to God. And I hope that my future self has surrendered those things and has made improvement in those
Yeah.
things. And I hope that's kind of a good thought to think about, like what your future self would think about where you're at and what you're doing right now.
I've thought about that, like when we have a new year and people are talking about resolutions, and I think about like where I was like last year. It's like, it's crazy how like life changes, and I just think like, where will I be at the end of the year, and will I have grown?
Yeah.
And like, will I be happy with where I'm at? And
yeah. And not to sound, not just the right word, superficial or whatever, but like honestly, like I do want my older self to look back at me and be proud of me. Like I want my older self to be like, I'm so glad that Jayla like started this habit in her life this year, because this has become such a big part of her life now. I don't know.
I think about like spiritual disciplines.
Yes.
I just want this year to be a year of like growth, because sometimes in the past I'm like, did I grow a lot spiritually this year? And maybe I did a little bit, but when I think about like when I'm a mom, I want to be really strong in my faith to be able to lead my children. And so that has to start now, and I want my future self to be thankful that I put in the spiritual disciplines to learn to grow in my relationship with Christ. This is so funny. This is almost the same as my last one that I read. People don't pay as much attention to your body and outfits as you think.
I love that one. I've heard, I don't know if I saw it on Instagram before, heard this quote, and I think it can go along with this, kind of about your body or your weight, or kind of could go with what you wear. Like that's literally the least important thing about you that anyone cares about you. Like what you look like or your body or what you're wearing, like that's like the least important thing that there could be about you. Like, but yet we focus on that so much, and in our heads it can be like the most important thing, like what we look like and what people think we look like, and if I put on some more weight, or if I'm too thin, or this or that. And I don't know, it's hard not to struggle with those thoughts, but it's like I really liked hearing that. I don't know who said it, but someone's perspective, like it is literally the least important thing, but it can seem like the most important thing. And I wish that was something that especially younger girls knew, even people my age, even stuff. I mean, I still struggle with those thoughts of being really caring about what I look like or what I'm wearing and stuff like that. But that's a good one. The next one is stop caring what everyone else thinks. Be comfortable and confident. I feel like that's just a reoccurring theme here, and it's so true. I think that's something everyone can tell their younger self, and I'll probably continue to tell my younger self as I get older. Like, it's so hard not to care about what people think.
I know. Oh. Making eye contact with a guy doesn't mean he likes you. That's so funny.
Oh, that is very funny.
Were you like that?
If I did have a crush and we did make eye contact, I probably wrote about it in my diary.
This brings me back to just cringy days of like liking a guy, or like feeling like, oh, I made eye contact with him. This sounds kind of familiar. Like thinking like, oh, there's kind of something between us.
Like back in the days where like you were like way too awkward and shy to actually talk to a guy. Yeah. But you had a crush on him, so like making eye contact was like as far as you were gonna get. So that was a pretty big deal. Oh, that
to the younger girls. Yeah, that is good.
You are not alone, and this will not ruin your life. Others are not who define you or your worth. Stay out of the drama, and life will go a little smoother. Listen to your parents. They aren't dumb, even if you think they are. That's very good.
Yeah. There was definitely a time in my life that I would have needed to hear this.
Yeah.
And I remember going through a really hard time, and like my mom saying this will pass, like water will go under the bridge, this will pass. But in the moment, things feel like this is your whole life. Like when you're a teenager and there's like friendship problems or something, and it feels like this is the end of the world.
Yes.
And like my life is like ruined kind of. And like looking back, I'm like, there was so much like hope at the end of that.
Yeah.
But I just thought because of like life circumstances that was just it for me. Like my social life, like not having any friends. Mm-hmm. So I think that's super important to learn. And listening to your parents. They do have a lot of wisdom. They have been through a lot, and
they probably know what you're going through.
Yeah. Relax and not make things bigger than they are. Choose your battles wisely.
I feel like this is something I've kind of been thinking about, especially in marriage. Sometimes there's just little things that will annoy you about your partner or your spouse that are just like little habits they have that literally aren't that big of a
Yeah.
deal. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, and choose your battles to fight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be known as like a nagging wife.
Yeah.
Like every little thing I just get real nitpicky about. And
I think it's easy because maybe it's not that way for every marriage, but you're so comfortable that you could just nitpick everything.
Exactly.
It is important to think, like, is this really a battle worth fighting? And sometimes it is. Like, sometimes it's something that's been brewing up and that you really do need to communicate. But a lot of times, at least for me, it's like, that just feels like it's tearing him down, or it's just really not worth it. Like, it's not a big enough deal to make it a big deal.
Or something that you just like constantly nag or complain about, and it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just like a little habit that they have.
Yeah.
Learn to love yourself first. Relationships of friends and significant others will only go as far as the love you have for yourself. Also, to have faith. When you get that gut feeling, trust it. Even when you don't know where it leads, have faith that God has a plan. I like that a lot.
And like, not only like learning to love yourself, but learning to like love yourself for being made in the image of God and for who God says you are. Seeing yourself through the lens of Christ and knowing your worth. I think that's super important.
I think it's easy to sometimes, especially within, I feel like I experience this with friendships. I still can. Almost like the way that God made you. Sometimes like you leave that feeling like insecure, or like if you're hanging out with friends or something, or your spouse, like, I wish I wasn't this way and I don't like this or that. When it's like, it's nothing bad. It's just the way that God made you. And I feel like as you get older and more mature, and I think, that's changed in me even as I've gotten older, like realizing that's just like a quirk of mine or how God made me. I don't know.
Yeah. Know when it's something that you need to change and grow in, but also sometimes it's just who you are. And that's okay. And that can be a really beautiful thing, even if it's kind of quirky and different. I would tell her life's going to get hard and you're going to have a lot of responsibilities when you grow up. So enjoy every moment of carefree childhood. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It is crazy, like thinking back to the days of being in school and then like getting done with school for the day and just like playing outside for the afternoon.
Oh my word. Even like back to my homeschool days when I just had all the flexibility to go on trips and I didn't have to take off work. Like,
I know.
Life was good, but I just lived for after that. And there was a lot of good to that stage of life.
And I think it's easy to always feel that way and always be like
looking ahead.
Yes. And it's just like and then you always look back and like, wow, I kind of miss that stage of life too. I think it's just always easy to feel those thoughts as you move along in life. Life goes so fast. Live in the moment. That was basically exactly like yours. Yes.
Yeah. Be yourself. Don't worry about what others think. Throw yourself into serving God 100%. Take all the chances you get to travel and establish a career.
I definitely agree with that. I think I know it's different personalities have different desires, but I always think about that, especially for like girls who are single. Just like take advantage of those opportunities when you aren't settled down, I guess is what I mean. And just like to go and travel and to go and experience the world, maybe go start a career you've been wanting to start a career. Not saying that you can't do those things anymore once you're married, but it is sometimes a little bit more difficult to
you
just
have
like
someone else to think about.
Yeah, and usually you're going to have your own house then, and you're kind of trying to start this life together. It can just be a little bit more difficult. One day you'll look back and understand why God allowed things to happen the way he did, even when it doesn't make sense at the time.
Yeah.
Very true. I can look back at a lot of things and think that I think one thing that God really puts in our lives, or the reason he puts things into our lives, is for testimony. That's something that I always thought about. I feel like when I went through really hard things when I was younger, it's just like, I really hope, God put this in my life for a reason, and I hope that someday I can use it to help other girls who went through the same struggle as I did.
Yeah. That's really good, and a really good perspective to think, like, when you're going through something really hard, you're now going to have a perspective for other people having some of the same or similar struggles that someone else wouldn't understand.
And God doesn't put stuff in your life unnoticingly. Like, he knows exactly the path that he's putting you on and the things he's putting you through. And usually it's to refine you and make you into a better person for him.
You are actually going to get married. Prepare, be patient, and don't worry about it.
That's funny.
I know you do spend a lot of time, probably not everybody. I know not everybody, but it was like, who am I getting married? Like, kind of not really stressing about it, but it is a big deal. Marriage is a big deal, but it's like, it doesn't happen for everybody, but it's going to happen how it's supposed to happen. And don't.
And it's funny because we
stress about
both
it.
got married about exactly the same age at 20. And even like, and that seems like such a young age, but like, I feel like you're already like getting stressed about it, like 12 and 13, like, who am I going to marry? And it's like, oh my word, there's
So much life ahead of you.
so much time before you need to even be thinking about that. To be yourself, don't care about what other people think or what the society thinks. We are who God made us to be, and we need to shine Him through us. We only need to live for Him and make sure our lives are being lived out according to His purpose for us. That's definitely a good reminder to not care about what society thinks. I think what society thinks and what people around us are going to think about us can really scare us into not wanting to do the things that God is calling us to do. I know I feel that in my own life sometimes because you care so much about what other people think when, that really doesn't matter.
Focusing on yourself and what you look like to others to seek success and acceptance will only make you more insecure and unhappy. Security and joy only come from the Lord.
That's good.
Kind of goes along with what we've been saying about like what you look like, caring what other people think. Security and joy only come from the Lord. That's an important reminder.
Don't give in to peer pressure. It will save you a lot of trouble in the long run. That's definitely a good one to remember because it's very easy to be influenced by your peers around you.
Yeah. Especially like as a younger, more impressionable person.
Yeah.
Learn to wait and listen to the Lord after praying, to rebuke the enemy from your mind and just listen to his sweet, tender voice. Ask him to fill you with his love for your husband, your children, and put his full armor on before starting. She says, put his full armor on me before starting my day. Let him lead you all throughout the day. Listen if he prompts you to talk to someone or give money and tell them about his good news. I feel like that sounds like wisdom from like an older woman. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not, but that's like something that I feel like is speaking to me in my life right now. That's really good.
That's very good. I like just listening to his voice, and if he prompts you to do something, just do it.
Yeah.
I read the next one. I wish I could have told myself that there's no reason to rush through life and constantly be longing for the next thing, the next age, and never be satisfied with where you are. When you turn 14, you want to be 16. When you're 16, you want to be 18. When you're 18, you want to be 21 and gain those new privileges that come with each age. And before you know it, life has zoomed by and you realize what you really want sometimes is just to get back to your younger self. I wish I would have taken the time to enjoy where I was in life instead of trying to rush to grow up so fast. Now I'm 18 and a teacher, no longer living at home, and I'm always looking back wondering why I didn't just enjoy my life in the moment. I'm very happy where I am now, but that's one of the things I would tell my younger self. Yeah, it's easy for me even now. Like, I would be so like happy. My 14-year-old self would be so happy, like, oh, it's so fun, you're married now, but I feel like even now, it's like I still am always looking to the next thing and like ready for this next stage of life or this next thing that we could be doing. And it's like I really just want to learn to be more present and content with where I'm at in life and the stage where I'm at in life right now.
Yeah, that one kind of made me tear up a little bit just thinking about like how quickly life passes us by. And I did live in that of like looking forward to the next stage. And it's like looking back, I'm obviously happy where I'm at now, but it's like I wish I would have appreciated like some of those younger moments and memories, like us sharing a room together. Like I'm never going to have that back again. Not that I like want to, but I don't know. I mean, that's just life. And right now I'm trying to be present and enjoy this time with just me and Keegan. Someday we'll have children, but like I don't want to rush to that because we're never going to have this, one day we'll be empty nesters, but it will never be like it is right now.
And it actually is kind of a big struggle with me. I have realized I struggle with contentment issues. Just contentment at where I'm at in life sometimes. Not about like physical things I have or don't have, but I feel like sometimes I'm always like wanting something new. I don't know. I tend to struggle sometimes with like feeling like I'm stuck in a rut in life and in a routine, and that's just a good reminder.
You'll never regret pursuing your dream career. you can have your dream job while you're still being a good wife and mom. Honestly, what was my dream career? My dream career was being a YouTuber, which hasn't really turned into a career for me, but
like and subscribe.
like and subscribe so that we can turn it into a career. No. And also just being a mom was my dream job, and being an actress.
Yes.
That one didn't quite pan out.
Yeah.
Kind of glad I didn't maybe pursue that one for myself.
Yeah.
But I do think you still can like chase those dreams. It might look a little bit different as a mom.
You don't have to let that be an excuse to just like
To not push yourself.
Yeah. To not push yourself. That's probably not the right thing. Just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't push yourself to do more.
Should I leave that in?
I don't know. See how bad it sounds. You know what we mean. Okay. Always be content with where God has you in life. There will always be something you're waiting on, and as soon as you get that, there will always be something else. God always has you right where he wants you. That's good.
Yeah. Your life will most likely not turn out the way you had planned. Try to look at the changes in direction and ask God, what now? Give me direction for this turn. Hang on to him for dear life. Friends come and go as life ebbs and flows, and that's okay. Invest in your spouse and your family. They will always be there. Life does ebb and flow, and people come and go out of your life. And I do think it's important to hold on to your family and the people who are always going to be there for you, and really investing in those relationships. Not that you can't invest in other ones, but just
I don't know. I kind of like the part of like your life will most likely not turn out the way you had planned. I don't know. I like the idea. I mean, I don't want a lot of bad things to happen, but I like the idea of God just throwing crazy things I never would have thought of in my life. I don't know. I feel like that can be kind of an exciting thought too.
I can't relate to that. I like to have my life perfectly planned out and everything just to fall in place perfectly how I wanted it. But I think that that's cool. Like that perspective as well.
I mean, I see that way too. It's not like, you know what, throw me something crazy. Like,
throw me a little
switch it
curveball.
up.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect to win people's love. It's okay to have flaws, and friends and family will not think less of you just because you're not perfect. Honestly, it sounds extremely boring to hang out with a perfect person, so that is very true.
I wouldn't be able to relate or understand them if they were.
Oh, I thought you were like, I can't relate or understand because I am perfect.
Definitely not. Be smarter with finances. Oh, that was pretty blunt and to the point, but I actually have to agree with that with my younger self. Like when I was single, I just didn't really, I did save, but I was not a very good saver. And once I got married, I was like, oh shoot, like I'm not just living under my parents' roof anymore. And I wish I would have done better while I didn't have any bills of saving.
That is definitely a good thing to always be mindful of, even when you're like 15 years old or 16 years old getting your new job, just saving for the future and being mindful with your finances.
Future you will be happy.
Yep. Life turned out better than I could have ever imagined. It's okay if not everything goes as I planned. God has something better planned. That's very hopeful. I like that.
Yeah.
It's not like life always turns out not how you're going to expect. Like life doesn't always go as planned. Like I like
more in a negative light, whereas like life didn't go as planned. It went way better than I planned it. You don't have to make everyone like you.
Ooh, that's a good one for me. I
need to hear that right now.
I definitely struggle with feeling, I don't know. I definitely am someone who like never wants to hurt someone, or never wants someone to think ill of me, or like to always like me, or like my personality, or like not to ever be annoyed at me. But like that's just not how life is. I mean, obviously you want to strive to be a kind person and kind to other people, but not everyone has to just like absolutely be in love with you and your personality. And
unfortunately, not everybody is.
Yep. Be intentional about your habits. Don't worry so much what others think. I like that one. Habits are something that can be very hard to form sometime, and I think your future self would very much be thankful for those good habits that you start now.
I would tell my younger self to invest in relationships of all ages and sit at the feet of older godly women and learn from them. I would tell myself to seek out friends and people standing in the corner alone and include them every way I could.
That's something I've thought about. It's a struggle, and especially, I mean, I don't feel like I'm in that stage of life as much, although there is still a lot of people who I know are in the corners and are alone, but I wish that I was braver when I was younger, especially like in youth group and stuff, that I like didn't care what people thought, that I wasn't so concerned about having a fun time, that I didn't ever want to like leave my circle of friends. Like there could still be so many good and fun opportunities and ways to bless other people just by reaching out to those who are maybe a little bit more alone.
I still struggle with that as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to have friends of all ages, and that's something I never really have done. And now I'm like, I want that, but now I'm like, how do I find that? It is kind of hard, and it's so important though. Like older women have so much wisdom to share, and sometimes, and not as a young person, you feel like I just couldn't relate to them, but they just have so much like life experience and godly wisdom that they could share.
And I think another thing is reaching out to younger girls too. I think that's something I think about now, is like, you know, especially talking about like the experiences that God has put me through. Like I would love to be that person to a younger girl, that they feel like they could come to me and talk to me about anything, and that I could help them through that, because I'm not saying I have so much wisdom now, but I feel like I would love to be able to be a friend and maybe put in some godly insight to those younger girls.
And at your age, like a young 20s, you're still close enough to that teenage age where you still really remember what it's like more clearly. And so you have like a perspective to really help them, because you literally just went through it.
Exactly. I think I would tell her that it's okay to make mistakes. You don't have to be perfect all the time, and no one will think you're a bad person just because you messed up. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is. Okay, this is the last one. I would tell myself to enjoy every moment with my family, because you never know when the last time will be. That is so important, and I feel like I haven't experienced a lot of loss in my life.
Thankfully.
Yeah. But I know that I will. And sometimes I'm like terrified of that because I haven't, and I don't feel prepared for that. I know like Keegan has lost someone really close to him, and it really does make you think about life and cherishing every moment. And I never want to look back and think, I wish I would have, you know, spent more time or told someone I loved them, you know. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for sending these in. I just feel like we got so much wisdom from a lot of different perspectives and probably a lot of different ages. This is just really good. I really loved this episode.
Yes, I love this style of episodes, of reading in you guys' submissions, and just, yeah, it feels like we can just have like a big conversation with a big group of people with all these different answers being put in.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching or listening, or however you are taking in this content. I hope that you enjoyed. Hopefully you were able to just get a little bit of wisdom out of it, that it can help us to think about who we want to be in the future in ways that we can grow right now. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and follow our Instagram. Everything will be in the description, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.